Hi guys, Debbie here. Thank you for joining me to in part 3 continuation of the previous video. My apologies for the sudden abrupt ending. We haven't had anybody knock on our front door for the longest time, for obvious reasons, the isolation. Anyway, somebody happened to knock on our door yesterday and the dog lost her mind. So I had to suddenly turn off and go downstairs and see what was going on. But anyway, so we're going to continue on today where we left off yesterday. We spoke about the ripping of the edges. So I did one sheet and I've continued on off camera and done the rest of them. So what we're going to do now is we are going to do the antiquing on the edges. So very simple process. I'm just going to get that out the way, pull this in here, grab my stamp pad, there's my stamp pad, and my tool. So antiquing the edges, you can see that if you can see, I don't know where the camera's at. So I used my ruler and just made jagged edges. So that's my preference. I like it like that, but you certainly don't have to. And now I'm going to antique the edges. I like that look. I like an old look to my journal, you know, with the coffee dyed papers, that coffee tea, the beets and the avos and all that, the way papers are dyed. Once they've dried, because they go sort of through a heating process to dry them, they have that, I'll use the word crinkly crackly. They have that crinkly crackly sound to them, which I love. I absolutely love. They feel aged. So I like my junk journal to feel aged, which it does because of the baked potatoes, the baked papers. And so I like it to have an old look. So this is my preference, to keep up with the antiquing. So I'm going to just show you what this looks like. There we go. So that is the pocket. So you can see it just, I don't know, I think it just adds a nice finished touch to it, and I love the way it looks. Oh, and there's a bit of an overhang there, so no worries. It's not a perfect science, so I'm just going to antique that so that it all looks, it all ties in nicely. So I'm also going to I haven't glued this one, so I'm just going to use my tape glue. I think I started on a different one yesterday, but behind the scenes what I did was I went ahead and did all of them. I taped all of the inside decorative paper that needed taping to fold over and make the pockets. And I also did all of the ripping so that you wouldn't have to watch me do it on camera. How boring would that be? So I did that all behind the scenes. Okay, so we have a pocket here. So that's the way it is in your book. So let me get that out the way, my trusty catalog. So this is what I was saying with the catalog. I use the pages, and as they get goopy, when I use them for gluing and for the antiquing, I just turn to a new page. And then when I'm done the catalog, I start on that side and work my way back that way on the clean pages. Good use of a catalog rather than just throw it out. Anyway, let's get our journal back. So I'm just going to show you what I've done here. So all of them have been torn, and I've gone through and antiqued them all. So have a look and see what I've done here. I hope you can see it. I don't know how well this shows on a camera. So I didn't do the book pieces just because I'm not sure what we're going to do with the book pieces. Sometimes I make pockets out of them. We do different things. So I think I'm repeating myself. I might have said that yesterday. But anyway, so that's it all done. So let's start on a project. We're going to go page by page, and let's find something to do with decorating a page. So I've made some little notes over here. So we folded the papers, we've glued the signature pockets, we've put glue pockets in cover and add decoration. Oh, okay, yes, we've done that. That was the cover. and we've ripped the edges. We've done all of that. We've antiqued the edges, so I can say that, antique the edges. If you're going to do yours, honestly, get your book all together. I never bind mine until a lot of stuff is done, just because it's easier to pull a page out and work on it individually. So I like to do that, rather than if this was bound in your book, then you'd have to get your piece of paper behind, then do your antiquing and then antique it here. It's just awkward. When it's not bound, you have no restrictions whatsoever. So now we're going to glue a belly band in the cover. A belly band. What's a belly band? A belly band is literally just let me move that out the way. Is just a piece of cardstock that I'm choosing to do it in the cover. So we're going to glue up there and we're going to glue down here. And the reason why is it's just another pocket where you can slip things in. So that's what we're going to do here. So I'm just going to cut this to size. Okay. Keep that nice little bit over there. And I'm going to glue this. Let's just move that out the way. I'm only going to do one side. I don't need to do both sides, but if you want to do both sides, so, oops, my glue's not coming out. Oh, there we go. So the glue I am using, it's called High Tack Extra Tacky Craft Adhesive. Bonds fabric, ribbon, canvas, paper, cardboard, styrofoam, wood, dries clear. I like this one. I got it on Amazon, I do believe. It's unique, creative, high tack, but Aileen's Craft glue works just fine too. I don't use Elmer's. Elmer's is water-based, and it will it'll make your papers crinkly, which is great. When I show you how to make the crinkly crackly covers, we'll use Elmer's, and I love it then, because then it does make the papers all crinkly crackly, and which is what I absolutely love. Anyway, we're going to let that dry. Okay. So we'll let that dry. I'm going to put that aside and let that dry. And now we're going to go through our book, and we could add some envelopes. I'm just going to choose a project just to find something to do. This is a nice strong piece of paper, and so I think I'm going to pull this and add some envelopes. And I like envelopes, and I'll tell you why. It just adds another pocket, and we're going to add them like that. So when you come to this page, you open it up. That's a spot for journaling. You can journal, you can decorate, you can do some stamping on there. Open it up, and then there's a nice tuck spot for your for more notes and for more cards, etc., etc. And because this piece of paper here, you can't journal on it, it gives you the opportunity to decorate it if you wanted to do a collage. If you have some if you were journaling yourself, perhaps you wanted to paste some photographs here or pictures or something. Because I'm giving this book as a gift for somebody who is a journaler, I want to provide as much opportunity in my journal, in this journal, for journaling per se. So I am going to be gluing something on here. So that's what I'm going to be doing. You can do the same when you're working on yours, or you might choose to find a pretty picture or something else to do in here. But we're going to go through what I'm going to be doing, and that'll just show you what can be done. Okay, so this envelope is a little bit too wide. And envelopes come in all sorts of sizes, and these are the only ones I have, so I coffee dyed them. But that's no worries to me. What I'm going to do is just make it smaller, and I'll show you how. Just get the two corners together of the bottom end that you're going to be shortening, and I want it to be about that much shorter. So what I'm going to do is I just snip it like that. So you can see now the edges are snipped, and then I'm just going to open this up like that. Just cut down there, and it's as simple as can be. So if you have larger envelopes at home, or something else that you'd like to use, of course you can make envelopes too, but I'm just using what I have. And there's envelopes in your kit, so if they don't fit the journal that you decide to put together, you can make them smaller. It's no big deal. So I'm just going to fold this to the same height like that, and then I'm going to tuck this piece in. Tuck that in like that, tuck it in like that, and then tuck this one in like that, and like that on the fold that I folded. Fold that in too. Oopsie daisy. There we go. Like that. Hold it flat. Okay, that's better. Stubborn little piece wouldn't go in. Now I'm just going to use my glue stick and glue it in. Maybe I'll just put a little bit of glue here. A little bit of glue. There. And glue it shut. And then we have an envelope that now fits. So I'm going to stick that on like that. And I'm going to do exactly the same with the other one. So I'm just going to snip that, see if I can do this one a little bit quicker. So to change the size of your envelope, snip it like that. Going to cut this. Oopsie daisy. Sorry, bear with me. Okay. Like that. And fold it over so that we can fold it in. I just want the fold line is what I'm doing here. Like that. Like that. Fold it and fold that side over to the same height. There we go. And I'm going to tuck that in. And tuck the other side in. There. And there. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue in there, and then there's my envelope made smaller. Okay, that glued. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut my scissors. I'm going to cut the envelope a little bit smaller because I don't need this whole flap here. So just enough that's going to leave me with a little bit of a platform that can be glued. So I'm going to put that. A little bit of glue on there. You can use your glue stick. Glue stick works just fine. So I'm going to put that on there. And then I'm going to put this one on the other side. Cut that. There you go. Put some glue on. There you go. And then I'm going to put this on this side over here. Like that. Like that. Perfect. Perfect. So that is, sure that sticks nicely. Okay. So there you go. So when your book is together, here you have, see, they fit in much better now. They were too big before. So that's how I'm going to do that. So I don't particularly care to expose this. There's nothing on this page that I'm that fond of, honestly. I think that's kind of fun. This is you know that this is a children's story. I might put something on this side over here, but I kind of like this funky little owl there. but this side means nothing, and I do want to have a journaling opportunity. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some paper. I have a lot of coffee dyed papers, and in your kits there are coffee dyed papers, extra coffee dyed papers that you could use as well. But if maybe your page has something that you're particularly fond of, so you might use something else. But this is what I am going to be using here, and I think I'm going to be sticking. Maybe I'll use this color here. It's nice and bright and cheery. So I am going to. I want it to be that size, like that. So I'm going to just get my cutter and cut that. Okay, you can just use your scissors. Scissors are fine. There we go. And I'm going to tear the edges. It's too tall anyway, so I'm going to tear the edges, and I'm going to just use my ruler for that. Here's my ruler. Okay. Tear the edges like that. And I'll do the same on this side as well. There we go. And now I'm going to just antique it. I think it's nice just to do things as you go. So I'm antiquing this because I want to glue this down, and I don't want to have to do it when it's in the book. So now's a good time to do it. Okay. Okay. And that will be glued in there, and I'm going to just fold it in half so I can get the center. There we go. And that is going to be glued right in there. So this is now what my center page will look like. Not my center page, but this page will look like. So here we go. There. Open that up. And there we go. There's your envelope, and this so it provides now journaling opportunity, and we'll decorate these as well and get them looking pretty. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that is one option to do. So I'm going to put that aside, and we're going to move on to the next one. The next thing I'd like to do is go through the book, and if you have something like I have I have dictionary papers. So I'm just going to go through here. The dictionary papers are in here. There they are there. So because dictionary paper is so thin and flimsy, I usually like to make a pocket out of it. You don't have to, of course, you can just leave them single, but that's what I've chosen to do this time. So two, and I'm going to make a pocket. So we're going to glue and glue so that this now becomes a pocket where you can slip something into. So we're going to do that now quickly. And then what I love about dictionary pages, and this is a funny thing, I just pull them out randomly. I don't look for anything in particular. Sometimes I do. That's, you know, sometimes I'll go through the dictionary and say, hey, I need something that pertains to whatever the event is of the dictionary that of the journal that I'm making. If it's a gift for somebody, it might be for a special occasion. But usually I don't. If I'm just making journals, I pull them out. But here's the funny thing. So then afterwards, and I've kind of made this a game with myself, I go through the words and I try and find something that's perhaps fitting for the journal, or something that you can tie it in with. And I can see fiddler crab. There's nothing going on here. La la la. I find something there. You find the strangest thing. Fiddle dee dee with with addition of nonsense. Fiddle-dee-dee. With the addition of nonsense. Why not? That sounds like a fun thing. So I am going to highlight that word. I have a little frame stamp and I'm going to stamp it on there. And then perhaps put a little journaling card over here and then write the definition of the fiddle-dee-dee there. And it just gives you another journaling opportunity. It's just something fun. So anyway, what the other thing I'm going to do, because the pockets, I'm going to just give them little pocket cutouts, just so that you know that they're pockets. Whoever has the journal will now know that this is actually a pocket. So I'm going to put this back in where it came from, somewhere in here. I'll pop that back in there. So we'll wait for that glue to dry and then we'll come back here and we will decorate that. So not to take this any further, so what we've done to recap here, we have glued all of our pockets. We've gone through and glued all of our pockets. We have ripped the edges, and if you have a ruler, if you have access to a dollar store, these are cheapy. You get them 3 for $1, and then literally get an old pair of scissors. Don't use your good scissors, and then just go through and snip, 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 snip until you have a jaggedy edge. It happens really easily. Like, these are very cheap rulers, and then you can use that for ripping if you like that look. If you like that look, so I have done that, and then I have antiqued the edges with the Distress Oxide, and we have gone through and done all of them. We have added some envelopes today, and I'm going to glue this down. We've added some envelopes, and we will be working on something else, another page. We will decide what to do with the next page on the next video. So thank you for joining me, and we'll see you on the next one. And just to give you a little sneak preview, I have worked on the second signature for our journal, and just to have a look and see the progress I made. So here's the belly band, and I've just slipped a little card in here. So if you're giving this as a gift to somebody, you may want to do that. Slip your little note in there, and you know, just dear so and so, hope you enjoy the journal, blah blah blah. I've added some tags, and we will be doing that. I've added some. Here's my dictionary page. So the glue has dried, and I've stamped, and this one I found a word. It's called flapdoodle. For heaven's sakes, flapdoodle means foolish talk, nonsense. So you know what, sometimes in a journal there's a little flapdoodling going on, so I thought that was kind of funny, and I thought it tied in with the journal. I've stamped, I put some butterflies on, I highlighted that. Put some butterflies on here. I may still put something over here so it gives you a journaling opportunity, or not. I think it's journal pages look beautiful on their own. Dictionary pages, excuse me. I have die cut the corners of my books. I happen to have a die cut, so I did the corners, but you can round cut them if you want, or just leave them the way they are. But I happen to have one, and I always do that with my book pages. I think it looks gorgeous. And here is my envelope page that I did, and we will decorate the envelopes in the one I just showed you. So I've added a half a doily on both sides. They are coffee dyed doilies. So you can see it becomes a lovely little tuck spot for putting some notes. You can put some decorative cards in there. You can still decorate this up. You can put some flower stickers on here. You can do some cutouts and paste them on here. Or if you want, you can do some words of wisdom on either side, or wherever you like. Or leave it for the person doing the journal to do their own journaling on here. I like the little bird over there, so I pasted some coffee dyed paper on, antiqued the edges, and I made sure that you could see the little bird. I used some masking tape. I make my own stamped masking tape, and I'll show it to you. I'll do a tutorial on it. It's just as easy as can be, really easy in fact. It's just masking tape that you buy from the hardware store. best quality you can buy. So just buy the good painter's stuff. So I buy the masking tape. I have stencils. You can rubber stamp them. If you have beautiful handwriting, you can use, so long as it's permanent ink, you use a permanent ink marker. You can write reams and reams on here, and it makes a beautiful sticker. And then what I did for here, because they're narrow, I just cut one in half, and I put one piece over there and one piece over there. So that's what I did here. And I'll show you how to make these. It's so simple. So that's what I used as masking tape. If you have washi tape is beautiful, but I didn't want to use washi tape. I wanted to make this junk journal something that you could literally conjure up with supplies in your own home. So that's what I've done there. Okay, what else do we have here? Oopsie daisy, let me just put that in there. You can see I've put the tabs on. I love them. I told you I love strings and cotton threads hanging, so I included, before I glued them on, I put the threads in there just to give it that sewn look. So that's what I've done there. I've added some cardstock to our pages that fold over, and we will go through that as well. And I've also reinforced some of the papers that I thought were a little bit frayed looking. Sometimes they're old, from old books. Like this is a very old music book. Paper is so fine that I've reinforced it down the middle so that we don't lose it once we get going in our journals. And what else? I made little pockets, which I included on this little half sheet, and we'll put cards in here, and we'll tie some ribbons on the cards. If you're giving your book away as a gift to somebody, these little pockets are a wonderful place to hide little notes, so whoever's using the journal will at some time empty it out and say, well, what's in here? Open it up and read a little personal note from you. I do that with all my journals that I give away. You can see that I have cut the corners as well, die cut the corners, punched, I guess they're called punched. I punched those. This is washi tape. I used a piece of decorative washi tape to reinforce the center of my book. And that's as far as I have got. And you can see that the edges are all antiqued. I've antiqued around the edges, which to me just gives it that super old journal look. Anyway, that's what we've done so far, and sorry if this is a little long. We will continue this. We'll continue decorating our journals, and we'll talk soon. Thank you. Thank you for bearing with me. Hi guys, Debbie here. Welcome back to part 3 of putting together our 2 signature no-sew junk journals. Today the video is going to be about now going through page by page and starting to do some finishing touches and putting some personality into our junk journals. So the first thing we're going to do is start with the cover. I've cut some cardstock. It's actually from one of these. Actually, I think it's the extra piece of cardstock that I had to cut off because this is a smaller size. So I kept them, but any cardstock will do. And there is cardstock in your kit. So that's what you will be doing. So what I did was I just wanted it to fit within the sewn area, because if I'm going to use glue or double-sided tape, it might not stick so well on the sewing area. So I've cut them so that it fits within the sewing area. It's going to be a bit of an overlap there, but it'll be just fine. And I'm going to put another one on this side here. Just gives us a spot to tuck some cards and some notes and things in there. It's always nice to have those in a cover. So I've also made some little embellishments here. I use some burlap, you know, buy this from the dollar store, burlap. And some leaves. I always have leaves lying all over the house. You know, Christmas time, you've got all that stuff that goes on in the house and leaves always fall off. Well, never throw them away. Keep them in your treasures. So I cut a little piece of burlap. I've got 2 leaves here. The thread, we've spoken about the thread before. This is this yummy stuff. It's all the let me show you. It is, let's see. It's the fraying bits that comes off a piece of woven fabric, and I always keep them because they come in handy. So I put some strings together, tied a little knot just to give it some staying power, and I made a little collage here. I thought that looked kind of cute. Now I am going to staple it. Oh, I think I'm going to put the butterfly there because I want to staple it on the outside. I'm going to staple it onto my little cardstock. So I'm going to grab my stapler. If you were sewing your junk journal, well then obviously you would sew that to secure it. But we're going to staple it on there, and it's not going anywhere. And honestly, you know what? You really don't even see those staples. So let's just leave that on there like that. And this one is going to come this side. Let's just reassemble these threads and the leaves. Put it that way. There. And I'm going to put that like that. And I don't mind if it hangs outside of the book. It's fine too. So I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to staple. And there you go. Mussy up the threads, and you hardly even see the staple. So that's going to be one of your pockets there, and that's going to be one of your pockets over there. Now I'm going to use double-sided tape to tape them down. Double-sided tape, I like the thin bits. It comes in varying widths, but I like this thin one. I guess, does it even say 0.3 of an inch, 8 millimeters. You can buy them from Dollar Tree, Michael's, any craft store, Amazon, but I got this from Dollar Tree. So I have one that's open here. So I'm going to just lay it on, and it's flimsy enough that you can just snip it off like that. There you go. And this side here. There you go. Some people like double-sided tape, and that's fine too. I'll show you. This is, excuse me, this is double-sided tape. The tape runner, the glue gun tape runner. So you would zip, 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 and it would be fine. I think it works quite well. I've never tried it. So, but I know a lot of people like them. Just got to peel that little tape off and peel that off. Sometimes the sticky stuff likes to come off with it as well, but just persuaded not to. There you go. There you go. And so here you have your little pocket, so you can put things in there. So we're going to do the same on this side as well. Just make sure I don't do it upside down. Okay, there. Let's do this side as well. So some tape over here. Hope you guys are all having a nice weekend. We were out in the garden. So much coming up. It's beautiful. Can't wait to get out there and really start digging. But, you know, there's some plants that come up later, so I don't want to be doing too much digging. Just washing garden furniture and moving things around and emptying out the shed. It's nice finding our gnomes and our cement mushrooms and things like that. It's an exciting time of the year. It's building up for rain outside, so I thought I'd come in and do some video journaling. Excuse me. Videoing on the journal. Okay, so I'm going to put that on there. Apply a little pressure. And there we have it. So we've got two pockets. Threads hanging out all over the show. You can trim them if you like. That's just fine. I love threads hanging out of my journal. I just love them. I think it's shabby dabby. I'm gonna snip some of them. I mean, there's threads and there's strings, right? Okay. You should see the floor in my craft room, because that's what I do all the time. Sweep them off. Okay, so let's put this aside and let's get concentrating on the signature. So I'll put that aside. I'm going to grab a signature. Okay, page one. Page one. I'll tell you what I love to do in my journals. I love a shabby edge. I just love it. So I am going to, and it's totally up to you. You can do it or don't, but I love it. You know, as I think I've mentioned before, junk journal is junky, it's shabby, and it has a lot more personality, I think, when it just isn't conventionally a journal. It's meant to be junky. So what I'm going to do take it page by page. I will put the cardstock aside, take it page by page. I'll leave it open there, and I'm going to take my first page, and I am going to give them shabby edges, and I'll show you what I mean. Here's my ruler that we spoke about in the very beginning, that I have cut up and made into a jaggedy edge ruler so that we can use it to make jaggedy edges on the edges of our papers. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. Oopsie daisy. It doesn't have to be perfect. As I said, it's just meant to be shabby, and it will be. So just gently hold your ruler down tight. That's what I do, because if it's a little bit loose, it may tear into the sheet, and we don't want that. We just want the edges torn. So if it breaks off, just go from the bottom again. Now this may seem tedious, and you may or may not want to do it, or you may only want to do some pages, but personally I like them all. So sometimes when I'm sitting watching TV, I'll take these downstairs and I will sit and watch TV, and I will do them. So there we have it. There's one. So now you're starting to have a look. I mean, I just love it, and we can do the antiquing on the edge of them as well. So not to bore you on camera, I have done one signature, and I'm going to show you. So here's the signature here. I mean, just look at that. Come on. Isn't that so sweet? So I have done the insides. I went through all of them, and I have torn them. I didn't do the book pages because I'm not quite sure what we're going to do with the book pages. We'll play along. We'll play as we go along. Or they might get torn, or they might turn into something else. I'm not sure. Sometimes they're pockets. If that side's not as exciting as this side, maybe I'll glue something onto that and we'll make pockets, but we'll decide as we go along. Okie dokie then. So that is that. So the first thing I'm going to do, we're going to start gluing our pockets. So at the same exactly what we did just now, I'm going to open up the pocket and put a strip over there like that, and a strip over here like that. Lift it off. Lift them up like that, and like that. And there's our pocket like that. I would definitely, let me just put that back in there. So I am definitely going to be antiquing my edges, and for antiquing the edges, I mean using distress ink. I just like it. I think it adds a nice finishing touch. So I'm going to do one so that you can have a look and see how it goes. I just use an old catalog, because when you're inking or when you're gluing, you need something to lay your work on that is not going to make a mess of your desktop or wherever it is that you're working. And I find a catalog works fabulously. So what I do is just lay it on there, open up my